Hi guys, we learn about Java programming language. Java is an object-oriented programming language as well as it is platform-independent language. Before we start about object-oriented programming language, let us know the drawbacks of function-oriented programming language. In function-oriented programming language, the program is divided into the number of functions and data independently. Here the main preference is given to the functions rather than the data. You can see guys, let me write one example called 5 plus 9 for example. In this expression you can see 5 and 9 are the data and you can take the plus sign as a function. So this function is created to perform operation on the data, but not the data is created for the function. So is it clear guys? So here the function which performs calculation, you can see here that the function is created for the data, but not the data is created for the function. Is it clear? You can see here. So in order to understand this concept, how importance is being given for the data inside the function oriented programming language. In the function oriented programming language, you can see the more preference is given to the function rather than the data. Okay, this type of approach is suitable for small programs. Okay, it is not suitable for the large scale programs and complex applications. That is a major drawback of function oriented programming languages. For example, you can see that if any program involves a large amount of data, which also you can see here, like customer data and items data, you can see if you take this program and use the program to develop in a function oriented programming languages, then you can see all the data and functionalities will be written separately rather than the writing together. There is no any specific mechanism that can bind them together. And you can see here any function like add customer is a function belongs to customer data and delete customer belongs to customer data, and similarly adding items belongs to item data and deleting items belongs to items data. But in function oriented programming language, there is no specific mechanism that can prevent from accessing one data into another functionality. Means all the functions, if you can see here, they are global. Means any function is not specifically bind with any specific data here. You can use the function add customer to access the data of items data. Similarly, you can use the function called adding items in order to access the data of customer data. So that leads to the insecurity of the data, and as well as it clearly says that the compiler of the function oriented programming language does not bind the data and functionalities together. So which make complexity increase in your program. When the data is increased and functions are increased, so the complexity also will be increased, because any data can be accessible with any function and it is very difficult to find out the bugs. Okay, if a bug is created and it is very difficult to find out that the bug is created with which function, because as I told you that there is no specific function attached to the data. So if a data is creating any bug, you cannot directly say that this particular function has made a bug. So that is one problem here. Okay, and that is a problem in function oriented programming language, right? The solution is object oriented programming, because the entire world is a collection of objects. Anywhere if you want to write a program, and if you want to write a program by using any kind of situation, so you have to implement the objects of the real time world. And you can see that in the real world everything is an entity, everything is an object. So if you want the real world object to be implemented in the program, then you must use the object oriented approach. Let us take one example, like here the customer is an object, but here I am unable to expose it as in similar format which exactly it refers. Mean what I mean to say, an object refers data as well as state and behavior, sorry, state and behavior, but I am not able to bind both. I'm not able to bind both of them together. Instead of I'm separating both of them. So individually I'm performing operations in function oriented programming language. But if I want to bind them together, I have to select the object oriented programming paradigm. You see guys, one example I will take, one more example. Here, if you can see the example, it is a C language program which supports for function oriented approach. And I have created two separate data blocks called structures. One belongs to commercial customer block, which consists of individual data of the commercial customer. Similarly, another block I have created, that is personal customer. And under that you can see I have created multiple functions belongs to each of the data. But as I already told you earlier that any function I cannot bind with a specific data. Anyhow, I have written the name of the functions like deposit commercial customer, which will tell me that this particular function belongs to this data. But for the compiler of this program is not having any specific mechanism that restrict of lifting the data from a particular class, particular structure. Means every function can access any data. Similarly, any data can be accessible by any of the different functions here. That is a major drawback. So here you can see data is separate and functionality is separate, because this is a function oriented programming approach where we are giving preference to the functions, and all the data we are keeping in one place and the functionalities we are keep writing one by one, and I'm not able to bind them together. But if you want to get the sufficient results, okay, we must implement the object oriented programming. So this is the example you can convert into object oriented paradigm. Okay, and you can see here the class commercial customer, I have converted the function oriented programming into object oriented programming. So there is a module called class is introduced in object oriented programming, by which you can bind the data and functionalities together. And you can see here the earlier functions which were written outside the structure, I just sync them into class. I just pull them into the class. Now you can see here this particular data is operated by the deposit and withdraw functions. That clearly indicates that this data cannot be accessible by any other function of the other class. Similarly, these functions cannot access the data of other class. So that automatically results to the two advantages for me. One, I can provide the data, I can provide the security to the data of my class, as well as I am able to bind the data and its functionalities together. So in this instance, you can see one more advantage. I can break down my program into multiple classes, and I can allow the different programmers to write and work on the different classes. And later I can integrate all the classes together to build a large program. So that makes easy to build a large program. These are the number of advantages I will get in the object oriented programming approach, which is not possible by using function oriented programming language. And that is the advantage. As well as you can see in Java, not only object oriented programming language, it is also, I said that it is a platform independent language. It is a platform independent language. What does it mean by platform independent language? You can see Java application works on the strategy called write once, run anyway. What does it mean? You can see if you take a C++ program, and when you compile the program, the compiler of the C++ will directly produce the object code. Object code is nothing but machine understandable code. The source code of the C++ will be converted into the object code. So in order to run on the system, we must require the object code. Because of that reason, compiler always produces the object code. And this object code can be directly executed on the same machine in which it is developed. Let us assume that we have taken the system called Pentium with Windows 7. So this is the system on which the object code is generated. That means this particular object code only can be executed on the same machine. I mean to say that this object code cannot run on the different machine. If I try to run, it will not execute. So that is the platform dependency. Means C, C++ are the platform dependent languages which directly produce the object code. Whereas when it comes to Java, the Java compiler does not produce the object code. Instead of it produces the bytecode. So bytecode is not specific to any platform. It is a platform independent code. So generally the bytecode is stored in a files called class files, .class files. So what happens when I produce the bytecode? So this is not a machine specific code. This is the independent code. Means I can run this code on any of the different machine. But one condition that if you want to run this code on any of the different machine, you should have a specific software called Java Virtual Machine. So let's assume that if I want to run this bytecode on the Pentium with Windows operating system, that particular machine should have the software called Java Virtual Machine. So then later it will convert the bytecode into the system understandable code, and then it will allow to execute the code. Similarly, if I want to run this bytecode in the machine called Celeron with Linux operating system, then I must have the JVM software in my system, so that this bytecode later converted into my specific machine specific code, then it will be executed. So because of this reason, Java has become platform independent language. That makes Java platform independent language. And this kind of approach is most useful if you want to develop the web applications, guys. The web application, we don't know where exactly it will be executed, but we need to where exactly it is developed, but we need to execute it in our machine, so in different machine. So how it is possible? So in our machine, which is a browser specific, in the browser we have JRE is loaded. JRE is nothing but Java Runtime Environment, which also consists of JVM. So every browser consists of JVM software built in. In order to execute any Java program, the Java runtime environment is required. So that is already built-inly available in all the browsers. Because of that reason, every system can run the Java applications. So that makes Java as a platform independent language. So it is most useful if you want to go with the development of web applications. So that's why Java is the most important language, and there are many security features available in Java, and it is 100% object oriented programming language where you can reuse the code which is already exist, and you can develop it, you can extend the functionalities, everything we can do. And we have the polymorphic features in Java. Okay, so this makes Java is a perfect and a valuable language. So in the future classes, we'll see the next topics, all of the topics practically. And this is simple introduction for the Java, guys. Bye.